Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to yet another edition of the Lambom Show. Today is Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. And like I apologized on my show on Monday, I have to do the same on Wednesday. I've been away for 2-3 weeks, and that has been because I've been under the weather, not been feeling too good. Glad to be back. I'm glad to share the wisdom of Sir Okpa, and the title of our discussion this evening is on Can Africa Develop Without the Multilateral Institutions? And this is motivated by an article that Sir Okpa put out, and the title of it is quite funny. He says, Abracadabra on Going Green, and IFC / World Bank Africa program. So it's a critique of it, and I'd like to read some of it so that we get into it. And he says, as I travel through Africa, what I have seen tells me until African countries begin to generate domestic and internally favorable policies, their undue dependence on foreign finance and development guidance will arrest its development. What do you mean, Sir Okpa?
He who goes a borrowing goes a sorrowing. You know, Africans just love to borrow. And when you borrow, you pay back somebody who obviously doesn't live in your continent. So, you have to strive to always pay back. And so, from colonial time to, independence to post-independence, with good African countries, or many African countries with more than 50 years of independence, they still haven't figured out how to use their own currency, to develop their economy. So they are always looking for money from the outside. And that's what has devastated the African countries. I mean, since the 80s, the SAP, the structural adjustment program that the World Bank and IMF came in and sold to naive African leaders has crumbled. I like to use the word sapped Africa. It's going now. China is coming. Even Turkey is coming. Everybody, Africa is an experimental continent, or a continent where everybody comes to experiment on something. If it doesn't work, fine. If it works, whatever, So I'm just saying, at what point or time do we begin to say, forget this stuff? Every nation is entitled to the value of their currency. So when you accept yours to be devalued, at the expense of your own growth and choices, then, you're just going to be chasing your tail like a dog. So that's why I wrote that. There are certain things, there are certain technical skills that may not be in Africa, but the basic things we need, or Africa needs to develop, it can be done locally. You could build your water system, you could build your power, your road, your housing. These things are local to you, but we're not going to the moon yet. But we can, because we have the brain of people who can study whatever science and engineering that is needed to do that. But also going abroad, looking for $5 million, $1 million loan to do small things. What are our banks? What are the banks in Africa supposed to be doing? What for? If I were an African president, nobody would come into that country and with any project except it's $1 billion, or on this project that we know that will help us boost our local capacity. But now, every little thing. Oh, can you help us find money abroad? And then, Jews, and these Western institutions and individuals, they take advantage of it.
But I believe that the way the world is structured, that is why the African countries are like, it's the question of the chicken and the hen, isn't it?
No, it's not. We're not trading in one currency. If we are so much into the globalization that everybody's pitching, or preaching, then let's go to one currency. So there's no need for devaluation of currencies. Okay, we are trading one currency and we pay back in one currency. We generate the same interest rate and payback period, and we don't have to, make some countries do interest only, stretched it to growth in your country or tied it into something. Well, we're not doing it. We still have competing currencies that are all going into Africa, trying to, get a piece of the action. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a book I'm reading now, and it's called From Silk to Silicon. Globalization started with Africans when, according to that book, 150,000 people left Africa. So look, this is not new to us. If Africa is the oldest continent, obviously, there were human beings there before anybody else. And so it looks like everybody has taken off and ran more further away from us. And then I mean, we can't just keep doing this and believe on all these. How many people in America, if you want to do $1 million project, you run into Mexico or Canada to borrow the money. It is going to be a local institution that take care of that. So Africa is endangered in the sense that they don't have the money and they don't have the local skill. And so, somebody's going to come build it for you and you're going to pay them. Money is not free. Anybody telling you money is free is giving you one that is choking you.
Yeah, but I mean, given that scenario, let's look at it in practical terms. Where Africa is within the scenario, this current condition, is it possible to do anything?
It is possible. It is possible. Everything is possible because it's a policy driven. It's possible. I mean, the Cameroonian currency is entitled to, it's set up by Cameroon and it's for Cameroon. So if Cameroon is going to trade with Nigeria, you got to make sure that the currency, per rate, it is suitable for Cameroon. If not, you're not trading. So one can dominate the other. So you have to harmonize trade. You have to harmonize interest rates so that you're not, making it harder for people on this side, selling you their goods and services cheaper while you are growing on this side and you're strangulating them. No, I don't subscribe to that. Trade has to be beneficial to the partners, trading whether bilaterally or multilaterally. And it's always bilateral because there's no way you're going to say, oh, Cameroon is trading with European nations or America. I mean, you got to be a specific partner, a specific trading nation you have relationship with. So you got to go in and look at, the terms and conditions, the buying powers, the exchange rate and stuff. I mean, up until 1985, the currencies were very strong. If you go back to Cameroonian money compared to it was strong. And then, but since 85 to now, what is 36 years? It's been devalued. And when your currency is devalued, what happens to your skill sets? Your professionals are going to leave. Because now they're thinking, hey, a lawyer, I don't care about those people, but a doctor in Cameroon, how many doctors in Cameroon can earn $200,000 equivalent? Either paid by the government or paid by their own practice. It's a choking proposition. So they will say, hey, but I can go to England or France or Germany or America and earn that money. If I send back 10% of it to my people, I'm a hero. Because when they exchange it to the local currency, they become millionaires. Just like everybody in Zimbabwe was a billionaire until they found out that they ain't got what, it's not worth anything. So that's what the situation. So when they devalue your currency, it's a draw for people to leave. And so when they say brain drain, nobody is putting a chain on our neck and drawing us. We're just going to leave because we want to go. Migration or immigration is what is the most important factor that affects it? Economics.
Mm-hmm.
Economics. You may have people who are fleeing wars or persecution or whatever, but it's economics. And so you go and provide cheap labor to these other economies. That's why they are growing. If every nation start to trade in one currency, what do you think will happen to the Western economy? It will collapse. Because there won't be need for you to leave. Everybody loves the comfort of their own place. until something makes them want to go. So, yes, you can come and become millionaire, succeed over here, but for the first few years you are providing cheap labor. And labor is what drives the economy because it's human capital. So if Western economies were to say, okay, let's do one currency trading, everybody interest rate, who's coming? You just go for vacation. You create comfort in your own place. So they're not going to let that go. So since they're not going to let that happen, then it's incumbent for every nation to strive to make sure that their own people only live by choice and not live because of economic stagnation. I mean, look at China. I don't like China, but China was able to pull itself out because China never borrowed from anybody. They started doing these things by themselves. When China did the Olympics, they didn't borrow money from anybody. And the world was mad at them because, hey, give contract to us. They say, heck no, we don't. We have our own labor needs. We can build these things by ourselves and we're not borrowing from anybody. And that's what they're doing. They have used their own currencies, their own currency in order to develop their nation. I mean, they have to borrow. There's still some international finance moving, but it shouldn't be to where the whole country, small trader, anybody's, can can World Bank come do? And then World Bank will go over there and make a loan of $500,000 and everybody's jumping over. Do you know the entire portfolio of World Bank outstanding loans? You know how much it's worth?
No.
$15 billion. Okay? Write that number down. $15 billion is the entirety of every loan that World Bank has outstanding. How many projects? 675 projects. So divide that. So the average loan they have on a project is $60 million. And then everybody's jumping up and down. So no bank in Nigeria, Cameroon, Rwanda can make that $6 million project loan and benefit from the payback. Because when you pay back on $6 million, you probably end up with $10 million because of the interest payment. But now you're going to wire that interest payment with the capital to whomever is outside your borders to enjoy. So somebody sitting in London having, sipping tea and they're looking for Africa to make their payment. It's still some kind of slavery. And we don't see it. And we have people running around and PhD in economics, PhD in finance. My mom always told me, hey, why is anybody spending that many number of years trying to figure out money? I know what money does. So but anyway, you got the picture.
Right. So this you have an example that you quote there of Ghana, and you say British High Commission commits to billions of pounds for Ghana. All these must be paid back. No wonder interest payments on borrowed capital is choking African borrowers. In Ghana, it is almost impossible to borrow at lower than 20%. Mostly interest-only repayment, not amortizing debt schedule on shorter terms like borrowing from Shylock's. Either way, the repayment is a heavy drag on revenue. It is not just borrowing, but at what terms and conditions? I mean, are you insinuating that they are just borrowing, they're not thinking about it?
No, they are borrowing. Why should Britain be lending them money? Well, can African countries lend money to Britain? And then they pay us back. That's whatever billions they've committed, somebody's going to pay it. And then the interest rate, you saw the interest rate of 20%.
Yeah.
Okay. You live in US, go borrow money. The only time you get in 20% interest is on your credit card. So go borrow your mortgage at 20% and see whether you will survive. You won't. So that is what Africans are meant to deal with. Their own banks are lending them money as if they are lending money to mafia people or drug dealers. Okay? So the banks supposed to come out, and the national assemblies, the politicians supposed to come up with policies to match and be competitive. If you're going to come in here and lend our people money, it has to be competitive to where. So if you're coming from America to lend us $1 billion, what are the terms? 2-3%? Okay, fine. If our banks cannot match you, you cannot charge us more than 3%. Because now you have to work hard to pay that. So let's say you borrow 1 million. Let's say you borrow 1 million. What is their name? Cities. Okay, at 20% for 1 year, and they just say 1 year we're just going to give you a 1 year debt loan at 20%. What are you going to pay back? 1.2 million cities. As a businessman, you're going to have to generate 3 times your interest. So you have to generate 1.6 million cities in order to be comfortable to pay 1.2 million, because you're going to have expenses and your own profit. So who do you pass that $600,000? You're going to charge your customers. You're going to charge your customers. So if they can't pay, you default on the loan. That's why there's a lot of default on African loans. But in America, you can go borrow money at 2%. So 2% of 1 million, what is that? $20,000. So your debt coverage ratio can just be to 1.3, $30,000. So you see how this financial thing works. It's not a magic. It's not imagined. It's real. So if you are building an apartment, a home, and it's 20%, so when you sell it to the civil servant, that is why you got to sell it at 1.6 million cities or 1.6 million francs. And that civil servant is only earning $30,000. They're going to steal from the government to pay you. All those things are reasons Africans are scrambling. Because the money borrowed to do things for them are choking their lives. And their central bank and the finance ministers are all afraid to tell the World Bank and the IMF, screw you. We're not going to do it anymore. We're going to use our own currencies to develop our economy. Except you want to go to the moon. We don't have the technology. Okay, fine. We just want to feel good about everybody going to the moon. Yeah, but to build our roads, our housing and everything, we're going to use our money.
So again, you point to the fact that these are policy issues, and it's kind of strange because somewhere down you mentioned the fact that Africa's inability, should I say ignorance, on how to create, develop, and leverage financial instruments to bolster its development goals, to enable favorable competitive capital, is partly reason development has not taken off to absorb population needs.
Yes,
I think I have a problem with that. We have real good policy thinkers.
No, you don't. You don't. You go back 10 years in Cameroon and pull policies that has to do with money. No. Go back to Cameroon. You are a journalist. You have the research ability. Go in and ask the Speaker of the House or the Clerk of the House to see. I want to see all policies in the past 10 years that was tabled for debate and became law in Cameroon to deal with monetary policy. Everybody would go to any African country. None. Because the politicians are interested in transactions. They are not interested in transformation. Go to Cameroon, you have a relationship. Ask any bank manager to give you, hey, you want to borrow whatever, 1 million of your local money in order to do something. And let them give you a term sheet. No, you go request it. So when I'm talking about policy, I'm not talking about policy of them acting like pimps, put in my pocket politicians. I'm talking about policies that will go to enable the common good. The common good. There's a project. My wife and I are building a gated community. Okay, and we are doing our due diligence. We've approached banks. We have free all sorts. I mean, the type of interest rate we are seeing is like, really, somebody lending you money at 2% for 38 years. That's a confidence in the currency. That's a confidence. So you are able to pass that benefit to your buyers. Because if they're charging me 10, 20%, I'll pass it back to the buyers. So tell me the policies that they have done. I want to say it, but because you know what? I'm active in African thing. I may not live there, but I'm plugged in. I can go get some of this information because they're not thinking it. You go sit in their parliament and listen to their debate. Has nothing to do with anything.
Again, I think that's partly because it's all politics. It's not people are not really getting to that. They're not policy driven. They're only looking for things that I mean, talk about Cameroon. That's a
Well, no,
different.
Cameroon and Nigeria. I mean, what I'm just saying that the professionals, okay, let's leave the politicians because they're there for their stomach. It's politics of the stomach. Let's look at the bankers. Let's go to the Cameroon Bankers Association, okay, and see what policies have they submitted or suggested to the National Assembly to pass in order to make banking, resources available to the consumer or the engineers. I mean, look at it. China comes in and say, "Oh, we're going to build the XYZ project." Oh, everybody jumps up and down. China brings in their what? Brings in their skill, their people.
Yeah.
And they build a compound for them. Okay. None of the local society of engineers have ever said, "Heck no, you don't do that." They haven't. Instead, they now start going to the minister to see if the minister will introduce them to the Chinese contractors and to get something. Yes, I was in Ghana. I mean, a fishing village, which the natives have been doing for centuries. Boom, China comes and says, "Oh, we're going to do a fishing village," and they all got displaced. Okay, let Africa go to China and displace a community. Come on. They will come and displace us because our own local politicians are naive, to enable it. Go to China, go to Lebanon, go to India and displace one of their own. See, these are the things that gives me a concern. We are willing to let other people come in and do it to us, but we cannot do it over there. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay? So if the gander is not getting it, say, "Heck no, we're not going to do this anymore." But we're not. Because these people are able to do what they do because they have bought the top leadership. And when I was in Ghana, I was able to, when I was coming closer to this thing the Chinese were doing, it was a Ghanaian that said, "Oh, go back." He was willing to be a gate man. Okay, while the Chinese were, behind barbed wire doing their thing. Come on. Come on. We, just like during slavery, we were there keeping guards. Why the slave masters were abusing our women and our men. Have you ever been to Ghana?
No.
If they don't know, you need to go. I mean, there was even the first Ghanaian Baptist priest who was part of their slave. He was there dining with the white slave masters while underneath, the people were screaming. So what has happened to the black mind, is one thing that oftentimes I say, don't blame the white man. Don't blame anybody who comes in there to do it because we have enabled it. We have enabled it, and so they feel the hey, I can go do it. And they're not doing it in South America. Africa is the only one continent they now come in and they can, bamboozle the 54 leaders and get anything they want. And we say it's okay. No, it's not okay. I'm not saying we should restrict, but I'm just saying anything that we do should be beneficial to both parties. So the engineers, the real estate people, the professionals have not introduced any legislation because in Africa, we wait for the lawmakers to give us the law. But in America, it is the people who are going to deal with the law that introduce the law. I mean, I'm a real estate person and I have a brokerage license in here. So when I pay my annual dues, if I look at the annual, they give me a breakdown. There's always a portion that is set aside for legislative efforts. That is all the laws that are going to affect the profession. There are people that are paid to make sure those things are going on. We suggest, today I just got interviewed. I had my final interview with this Congress authorized foundation that deals with appraising in America. Tomorrow I find out whether I made it to the board position. But that's what people do. But in our own case, let the president introduce the law, let the senator do the law. They don't know that choice. These people are already less than 1% of their population. They're comfortable. They're going to introduce any law that will jeopardize their own well-being. It's the people. So the professional Africans are clueless on how to promote their own profession and have laws. The doctors don't do that. So where are the professionals? The professionals, where are they? There are no ethics, in how you practice medicine in those countries.
So, but again, I don't think, I want to push back because the Europeans and Americans, they're the ones who have, tied our hands in the
No, they're not tied your hands.
How do we break out from this?
I can see your hands moving because the African, the black person is not bold enough to stand up and say, we're not going to do it anymore. They're not. Is it not the same white people I have lived with for 34 years? How many of them can intimidate me, either be by knowledge or wealth or status? They can't. So we may have the same knowledge, but we don't have the attitude and the confidence to stand up before them and say, no, we're not going to do that. Instead, we just yield. We get subdued easily, and then we become doormats. No, tell me, come on, what is the university? Name it. And I can tell you how many Africans that graduated there with top topic. There's one Cameroonian guy, he went to University of, what is it called? University of Texas, Dallas. He got his PhD in political science. When I went to his graduation ceremony with some of his classmates, I say, hey, Tiki, a few years now, these people will get a job with, UN, World Bank, IMF, or State Department, and they will go to Cameroon and dictate to them what to do in their country. But you, the Cameroonian, will just be there accepting. But you probably did better than them in the class. I said that in his graduation party. And the white people turned around and said, who is this guy?
Yeah, but how do you start breaking that kind of...
No, but his mindset. I can understand the person who lives in the village who still looks at the white person as the angel and blah, blah, blah. But for those of us who have that connection, all our world is to educate them. This is the role you have to play. We're not saying that, hey, we don't say kick them out. I'm just saying, when they tell you something, compare and contrast, counter, especially when it comes to money. Why should you borrow money at a rate that is choking your own growth? Come on. Why? When you have your own local currency that you are entitled by constitution and sovereignty to do as you wish. The dollar everybody's chasing, did God wire it to America? It comes out of a printing mint. They mint the money. God didn't send any, there's no wire transfer between God and America. It's printed money. So how come when you print your own money, it has no value? You can't use it to develop your own country. And you're chasing the dollar or the pound or the euro. They have sold you abracadabra. You know what abracadabra is?
Some magic formula.
No. The more you look, the less you see. That's what it means.
So again, I'm more in terms now with what is the solution?
No. The solution is the mindset. The solution is the mindset. You got to change the mindset. And that mindset is education, information. This is what you stand to gain or lose if you keep doing it this way or that way. That's it. It's not about the African, piling up on certificate or degrees. We've seen a ton of them. But the point is, a lot of them don't have effective education. They just have education to go get a job and be happy with whatever they are paid and maybe, go do something else. But it's not education that changes their mindset to say, how did slavery happen? How come the chain has gone, but our mind is still shackled? That's the education that we need to be talking about. In all of these African countries, there was never a war to colonize them. Somebody steps in and say, hey, sign over here, we protect you. And they were happy to do it. If you read the case of Buganda, which is now Uganda, you'll be ashamed. A white man walked in there and told you that their chief, the Bugandan chief, sign over here, the queen will protect you. You are agreeing to a queen you haven't met, but you are abusing your own local women. What a crap. What a crap. Didn't I send you that article?
Let me see.
No, I can forward it to you now.
Is it the one that you sent today? Because there's one.
No. I have it ready. I can send it to your WhatsApp so you could see it.
Right. So I'm thinking about the local guy who's in the United States is seeing the problem on the continent. Yes, you talk about the mindset. We don't have power.
No, you have power. You have power. You just choose not to use it.
How? How do I have power?
Because you're afraid. You're afraid to stand up. You're afraid to stand up. I have seen African presidents, prime ministers, I have hosted them and I keep hosting them. When I put them in front of white people, they just behave like ice cream in a summer heat. They melt. They don't know what to say. They're afraid to speak up. No. Okay, I'm sending you this thing on Buganda. Check your WhatsApp. And then read the highlighted sections. Okay? And tell me if you're not going to feel insulted.
Oh yeah, yes, you did.
But read to your audience the highlighted sections.
So the title of the article is "How to Expand the British Empire," and it says first, finally, cultivate a healthy self-regard. When Sir Walter Lawrence dealt with the natives in India, he later recalled he maintained the illusion wherever I was that I was infallible and invulnerable. How else could I have dealt with angry mobs, with cholera-stricken masses, and with processions of religious fanatics? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The illusion wherever I was that I was infallible and invulnerable. How else could I have dealt with angry mobs? The description there is quite with cholera-stricken masses and with processions of religious fanatics.
Okay. Which one are you reading? Are you reading the second highlighted or the third highlighted?
I'm reading the second, the last one now. As soon as you arrive, act as if you've got a God-given right to the place.
Okay, just pause. No. Just pause and think of that. As soon as you get in there, act like you are entitled to this place. Just that first sentence. And then African men will come and beat their chest and want to do what? Keep reading.
In 1890, Frederick Lugard of the Imperial East Africa Company simply marched into the royal capital of Uganda, pulled out a treaty, and informed King Mwanga that his country was now a British protectorate. The enlightened rule of Queen Victoria, Lugard predicted without apparent irony, will be the greatest blessing that Africa has known since the flood.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That's insane.
All right. No. March into the royal. They even wanted to be generous, say royal kingdom. Okay, let you and I march into the Buckingham Palace and tell the Queen, okay, now we are African king are here to take over. Come on.
How are we even going to get through Buckingham?
No, but I'm just saying, but look at how one white man, just marched in and gave him pulled a treaty that he probably generated. And then he will now call the Queen and say, guess what I got for England? Huh? And then Africans are running around with PhD and beating their chest. No, please share this with all your friends so that they shut up.
This is an important one. How to expand. Now, how do we, again, I know you talk about the mindset. How do we begin changing this?
No. Look. Look, you and I are black. We are not white. You know that thing they put in the Bible, no prophet has honor in their village or country. Mm-hmm. Whoever put that in the Bible looked at the black race because we don't have honor for our own selves. So we're always looking for a white, somebody other than us to come and give us the solution. Because if not, why is it that after centuries, we're still running after the same people that colonized and enslaved us for solution for what we can do? Now we have attended the same schools they have attended. We have beat them academically. We show that we can even have much brain power. And yet, we are still dealing with the same issues. I mean, go to black neighborhood. I mean, look at black people that have lived here for 400 years. They haven't figured out how to deal with, people. And so when they go to Africa, what are they looking? They're looking for solidarity in misery. Oh, they are doing it to us. Excuse me. My mom used to tell me how many times will something happen to me and I will wisen up. She said, don't ever cry, come to me. Because I ain't going to, stop any cry for you. You better go out there and fight. So that's what we're doing. We've gone everywhere. There's no country in the world where an African hasn't settled away, whether through slavery or through individual migration. And then what are we? What is the benefit? So our mindset needs to shift and it needs to change. Even Lebanese, even Indians, people that are considered not white, go to Africa and they get wealthy. So how many Africans have become rich in Lebanon, in India, in China? But some of these people will come to Africa with a plastic bag or Ghana must go bag. And next thing they are rich people. Is it not the case? Is it not factual? This is not a theory, So our mindset needs to shift, and our education needs to be about the confidence and the knowledge and the attitude behind it, not just sitting in a classroom and regurgitating their lessons, and then at the end we are given a paper and we still act and behave as if we never went to school. A lot of white people that go to Africa are not their best. These are the marginal ones. It was recently I found that the real white people were not the ones colonizing. The English people were using the Scottish people, the Irish people, the Welsh to go and do their job for them. While they sit in London and they, okay, go ahead and do it. And then we saw all of them as white. Because even in UK today or in England, the Irish and the English are still, hating and loving each other. But for us, we don't know the difference. Even when they were fighting wars in Europe, they were still holding on to their colonies. And we never said, oh, you haven't even gotten your house in order, but you want to control us. Get the heck out. We didn't. Instead, we joined them to fight their wars. Huh? Come on. I come into your house, and I'm trying to tell you how to run your wife, but me and my wife are fighting each other, divorced. Are you going to listen to me? Come on.
Of course not.
But that's what we did. Up until 1945, Africans were being drafted into whichever side of the country colonized them to go fight wars for people that are colonizing you. And he said, it's okay. If you're going to come into my house and dominate me, it better be that you got it going on your side. So our hands are tied because we want to mentally be allowed that to happen. Not because anybody put a rope on it and tied it. We are mentally. We're talking about, yes, our hands are tied mentally, well, not physically. I mean, Buhari, when Buhari gets sick, does he get treated in Nigeria? Heck no, he hops in the plane and go to England and sit for however long he wants. Paul Biya, they say he owns a hospital in France, whether true or false. That means he doesn't even trust his own doctors. So many of them. And then you're going to blame the white man. Like, what? The best thing you can do to a black person is to, torture them the first time. And then all of a sudden, they never even go, revert that. They get afraid to challenge. That's it. These things have ended up more than a century or 50-something years ago. And what are we still getting? The same chasing, running after them, want to copy and paste and copying the wrong thing. I mean, you could say, hey, okay, you did this to us when we didn't know, but now we know. There has a question I asked my wife when I came back from Ghana. Most of these slaves were like in their 20s, okay, when they left, okay? Mm-hmm. So they had a physical knowledge of whatever village or name they had, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, okay, you got sold. Okay, and whoever bought you said, hey, your name is now Thompson. Your name is now whatever that is. So just like me now, okay, I came to America when I was 20. Let's say somebody grabbed me. I knew where I came from. I knew my name. But somebody said, I'm buying you, and then you're going to change your name. And I said, fine. So when I regain my freedom, how come I don't go back to my old name? How come I didn't say, oh, my name is AGK? Or even if I'm marrying somebody, I say, look, my name is Armstrong, but my name is AGK. So you could have, but in this case of the African Americans, they say, oh, that name will change. No, but you were not, you didn't come here as a baby. You came as a man, a woman. So even if they were doing all of these things to you, how come we never retained that mindset to keep saying, hey, I came from Buganda, or I came from Igbo land, even though now I'm in South Carolina, just keep telling that oral history. How come our own oral history is disjointed. So now they end up with all these names. This is it. This is it. So I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be logical and, reason with this stuff. Because I went to the slave dungeon. I said, the dungeon, I can send you the picture now so you can see what I'm talking about. Beneath it is the dungeon. On top is the quarters for the man and the offices and the church. So people will be crying and screaming and they're reading the Bible over there. And then meanwhile, beneath them are people screaming and yelling. I mean, come on. And you never really grab some of these white people and kill them and say, okay, come on, let's do this fight. They will send a message to their people and say, hey, these people I didn't know. Instead, you are compliant. And then the women, they showed us, the master bedroom of the guy, the top guy. He had a secret staircase that goes down to the female dungeon. Like when he wants a woman, he will signal and she will come up and enjoy with the man, and then send them back. So they started having this light skin, what is it called? Light skin kids. And then they started, no, that's what they did. And then they started teaching those kids on how to oppress the ones whose skins are darker. This is a game plan. It's a game plan. So why the woman is enjoying the man? I don't know, being raped, but because some of them might, enjoyed it. He didn't find a way to grab his thing and cut it off. When he's carried away, because he couldn't have changed you in order to have sex with you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, come on. We didn't do any one of those. Maybe they did, and the story hasn't told it. The history hasn't told it. But these are the things, somebody come into your home, take over and dictate to you, and we just keep going and accepting it.
So Okpa, would you recommend that African countries withdraw from the IMF, the World Bank, and all these multilateral institutions?
Yes, but before you withdraw, you've heard the saying, before you throw away the dirty water, make sure you have something. So what are you going to have in alternative? You can't just do it emotionally. You got to do it strategically. Okay, but because you see that it has not helped you. He has choked you. He has limited your development. He has arrested your development. I mean, look at all the years they say they've been lending money to Africa, and we still have what we have. So either we are not using the money properly, or we're borrowing the money for the wrong things. So we got to get a time to say, hey, this is not working. So, I mean, have you read the book? Read the book on, 1948 when the Bretton, they call Bretton institution, the World Bank and IMF was set up. No African country was independent. Just like when the UN was done, no African country was independent. So they created a charter. Now that there are more, there are more African countries as member of UN than any other nation, per continent. 50-something of you. Europe doesn't have 50-something nations. And you haven't said this country club that you guys wrote the charter before I even became independent. We need to review the charter. If not, we're not joining anymore. We're out. But they will say it. Who is going to say it? Who is the African leader who has the clout and bold without selfish interest to say, hey, come on, guys, let's talk about it. No, instead they are doing the bidding. If you say somebody runs to their master in France or Germany or in DC and say, hey, look at what this president is thinking, all of a sudden you become the target. Because, Africans wear uniform, right? All these things we wear, but we are not unified. Just like when you see Nigerians in their party with all this stuff and they're dancing, it's a uniform, but they're not unified. There is no concrete attitude behind this. To where we say, okay, we're not going to the UN General Assembly anymore. Don't you? Every year they do what? What do they do? They leave the continent and go to UN for 3 days, and they get to the assembly podium and they make their statement, pass resolution. Those things has no force and effect. Nothing is behind it. Just say, boom, we're not coming. Or this is how we do it. Rotate the UN assemblies. Every year you do it here, every year you do it another continent. Demand something. In real estate, they said, if you don't ask, you don't get. In America, you don't ask, you don't get. Okay? Start to ask. And if they say no, but make sure you have the alternative that, when I'm not going to show up. Okay. You know how much, the UN thing does for the New York economy? Huh?
Yeah, that's big business.
Yeah. So you spend your meager resources to fly over there to go have 2-3 days and get in the podium. And then you fly back. Say, no, we're not doing it. In fact, let's do it virtually. Okay. Now everybody can everybody stay at home. But you gotta be the one asking and demanding.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some part of me that's hesitant to accept that you would ask African countries to just withdraw from this. And I get it that
I said yes, but you have to have an alternative. If you withdraw, then what are you going to do? You have to create your own. You have to create something. So if you're gonna make a threat, you better make sure you have something behind your threat. If not, they bluff you. You just a noisemaker. I said, don't throw away the dirty water until you get at least the clean one. So I'm just saying, okay, we have experience and example of how this thing has not favored us. Do we continue to be, submissive and subjugated to their plan, or do we say, you know what, I want to pull out of this, but before I pull out, I'm gonna go do this. Have you read the book Lee Kuan Yew years? How he said, forget it, we getting out of the Commonwealth. Okay, Lee Kuan Yew told the Commonwealth people, we out. I don't want this relationship. The divorce is final. It's only the African people, after they divorce their wife or husband, they still sneaking in the back, trying to get something. Get out. Go get you another relationship. But Africans will sneak in. So after independence, are they not sneaking back to their colonial masters and trying to get favors? Huh?
Of course.
Okay. Then they're going to laugh at you. They say, oh, okay, you need us now. Now this is how we're going to do it. But when the divorce is final, say, thank you, Jesus. Move on. I ain't coming back. No matter how good your sex is, I ain't looking for it anymore. Okay? Move on. Go get you another person. Make somebody jealous. Africans don't know how to make somebody jealous. Okay? Make your ex-spouse jealous. So that way they'll say, oh my God, maybe I left too early. Or maybe I can do better. Make somebody jealous.
Yeah, so again, I'm sure we're going to flesh this out in another conversation, but it's kind of hard how to build up the clean water so that you can throw out this dirty water.
Well, because again, it's a self-doubt. It's the fear. Fear is the fear in itself. We create this imaginary fear, and then I don't want to do it because they will do that. And the enemies, have you talked to African Americans? I have dealt with them. I have served on boards and commissions with them. I have been part of their organization. I mean, the Black Chamber, the oldest African American chamber in the U.S. I was elected secretary of the board in 1997. No foreign born has ever achieved that level. And guess what? Each time I propose something, they say, "Oh, they won't let us." I say, "Who are these? Who is this they? Can you tell me who they are? Tell me the devil. I can dine with the devil. I will never get devilish. Okay? Tell me who they are. I'll go meet them and say, hey, what is it that you need so that we can do our thing?" And they couldn't name it. They just said, oh, they won't let us. Okay? So you build up this fear, and then it's become real because nobody's actually stopping you. So you go have that conversation with any African leader. Oh man, you're too radical. But look at Europeans. The Europeans have been more radical than anybody. The world wars, they killed each other. No other continent has had the war the Europeans have had. Is it not true?
That's true.
Yeah. Germans, French, English, everybody, Russians, they're jumping and killing each other. Africans always, how many African countries have tried to take over another African country? They've always had internal issues. But they never crossed the border to go wage a war and tell you, you're a nuisance in our region. We're not going to let you do this. They haven't. Oh, black solidarity. Black solidarity is solidarity in misery. You know how they say the comfort, misery seeks comfort? That's what we black race do. We seek comfort in misery. Instead of telling ourselves, cut that out. You are the reason this is going on. Instead, we start to blame the outside. Just like in Nigeria today, if you go to the Igbo people, they are blaming the Fulanis. The Igbos blame everybody other than themselves. Everybody is the reason why they are not doing what they are doing. Because we don't look internally and say, hey, I'm the reason this thing is going on.
Great. So I think
No, we still have 50 minutes. We still got plenty of time. I mean, that's I'm looking at the clock. I say live.
Let's look at the last piece. A business that borrowed has to pay back. U.S. Exim Bank. That's the one I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
Because it's something that concerns you are on the board, Sub-Saharan Africa. U.S. Exim Bank lent Ghana $100 million almost 5 years after independence for the Volta project.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021, it is hard to point to any major Ghana project funded wholly from internal sources. How is that possible?
But I'm telling you, let them challenge it. 1950, 62, $100 million. You go to the Exim Bank website, it's there. You know what 100 million meant way back then? What, 60, what, is it coming on 60 years now?
About that.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And they're still running around looking for somebody to lend them money to build a water system. It's a fact. Because see, Africans have opinion majority. Okay, now I'm throwing a blanket statement. Africans have opinions, they don't have facts. Because so they can say, oh, the white man is not letting us do it, but they have forgotten that there are records of what the white man has tried to do. Just like the power supply issue in Nigeria. How many years separated Nigeria from the US for building their first power plants? 14 years. 14 years. Nigeria built their first power plant in 1896, 64 years before independence. America built their own power plant 160 years after independence. Okay? Is that number jiving to you? So for a century plus, America was using anything other than electricity. But once they cut on, they cut on. So they passed on something to us 64 years before independence. Okay? You have heard the saying, a fool at 40 is a fool forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of Africans are foolish forever because they have passed the 40 years. So in case of Nigeria, their independence this year was 61 years. So they have got 21 more years of foolishness on top of the 40. Okay? So everybody, if everybody is going to agree to that, a fool at 40 is a fool forever. Then just everybody look at your age and you see, oh my God, I'm still foolish past 40.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, in this particular example, you can't take away the fact that the Fulanis are contributing to us.
They're not contributing anything because I'm Igbo. I was in Nigeria two times this year. Okay, the Fulanis don't own 1% of land in Igbo land. The Igbos are still the highly homogeneous people that live with themselves. Other Nigerians don't like to live with Igbos. They hate Igbos. The Igbos are a nuisance. So other people don't want to live with them. Other people, but Igbos will go other places and they want to carry their own culture and impose on other people. But other people don't want to live in Igbo land because of the nature and the attitude of the Igbo. So when they say the Fulani, I say, where are the Fulanis? Where are the Fulanis? So these are facts. But again, when you're emotional, we Black people, we are very emotional in our argument. We're not factual. So when once somebody is driven by emotion, they don't care about the facts.
I take exception to that statement that you made about that Africans have opinions, not facts. I mean,
no, they do.
Yeah, well,
no, you could take an exception.
I think that's an opinion too.
No, it's not opinion. It's a fact. It's a fact because just like I asked you, how many of your bankers and lawyers have introduced something you didn't know, but you might say, oh, the government is. No. So what I'm just saying. Ask them what is the budget of Cameroon, how are they funding Cameroon government, how many of them, they say, oh, there's money just that they're pocketing, but they don't have facts on the various ways the budget is generated. I'm talking about factual things that can be verified. My opinion, I could say I went to the moon and it could be my opinion, but can it be proven? So I'm just saying, let's take time to look at the factual things that is holding us back, that we are inducing, that we are encouraging. If you're going to compete, you're going to be prepared internally. before he even came out and say, okay, let me get in the boxing ring with somebody. But if you just say, oh, I'm going to go beat them up, okay, fine. So we don't prepare. We don't study the competition. We don't study the subject. We just say, oh well, when they beat us up, maybe they did this or they did that. I'm just saying, we have lived with everybody as long as everybody has lived with us. So how come our own situations are still where it is? That's a question I ask myself. How come we are still where we are? Is it because I don't have the brain to recognize what I have studied, or I don't have the brain to practice what I have studied in order to improve my life? It's a question, and it has nothing to do with. I don't blame God for the color of my skin, because He chose me. I didn't choose to be who I am in terms of color and something, but I can choose the life I live. So it has nothing to do with, are you white, are you taller, are you slimmer, or this. If racism and difference in complexion is an issue, God would snap a finger, we wake up and everybody look alike. All fingers are not equal. They're not shaped alike. But every finger has a function, just like every race. If you want to deliver a bang, you pull the fingers together. But otherwise, the fingers are all standing by their own. So Africa, stand by your own. When the world needs you, they need you because everybody's pulling in. But don't want to pull it. Don't jump into somebody's backyard and think, oh, they should be doing it for you. Do it for yourself. Create where people want to be in your thing, and then you set the condition. Barrier to entry creates value. They came in. No. Anytime you wake up, when I shared the article with my wife about how to expand the British Empire, she got pissed off.
Yeah, it's kind of.
She was sharing it with her friends because we never. No. Somebody walked into the kingdom. They said Royal Kingdom of Buganda. Okay.
Yeah.
I said sign here. Didn't he sign? He signed. And the king has never met Queen Victoria. But I bet you in Buganda, they were not treating the women right. So, but you got to yield to a particular somebody. They said the queen you haven't met. Isn't it irony? Back then, when the queen visited Africa, was the only time they cleaned the streets. Anytime any foreign person is visiting, they from the airport to the streets, to the route they're going to follow, they make sure it's clean. But once the person goes there, it'll all be dirty. Come on. And we think it's okay. So we don't want to be clean until somebody's visiting us.
Well, I think there's been a change. I mean, there are many, in the olden days, at least I know in Cameroon, they used to have something like a public works department where they did a lot of cleaning. But again, these things have changed, times have changed.
No, they're wrong. It's called PWD, okay? Yeah. Because it was still the Nigeria-Cameroon sort of formula, okay? So they had sanitation.
Yeah.
Back then it was clean, the streets were cleaner, you don't drop things. But now, that's what I'm saying, once the white man left, the Africans, remember, they are trashy and filthy people. And they said that throwing trees everywhere. But now, if the queen is going to come to Cameroon, I bet you the president will say, okay, everybody clean the street. Okay, so let the queen be coming every day so we can have a clean environment.
Okay, so I have a conference coming up tomorrow. That's why I invited the gentleman you see in the background.
Who?
Let me see something. Let me share this. Share screen. Okay, I don't think that's going to work. So, but
who do you have in the background? I don't know. Okay.
So there's a conference coming up tomorrow. It's called Continuing Plunder, Brutal Extraction of Africa's Resources. The illicit transfer of wealth out of Africa drives much of today's global affairs and also explains much of yesterday's. Mm-hmm. This webinar will highlight key facets of the pillaging of Africa in our time. So I belong to a group called ADNA. Mm-hmm. It's an advocacy network for Africa. Mm-hmm. So, and Nia Kwete, that's the Ghanaian, His, let me see, get back to my regular.
So who is plundering Africa?
New, you can't see. Hello?
Yeah. Who is plundering Africa?
So I'd like for you to follow up what he's going to say and then you respond.
Okay.
Ni? Let me take him out.
I see his microphone is muted.
Yeah, I think he muted himself. Ni, can you hear me? Ni? Hello, Ni?
Can you call him on his phone and see? Or is he using his phone?
Let me see.
So I mean, what is he doing? I mean, okay, he wants to do the plundering of Africa.
So there's a conference tomorrow. He just wanted to talk about it, but I wanted you to also chime in. And that question that you asked is really important. Who is plundering Africa?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know that there are too many things. You always give a perspective to this in terms of we are the ones who have allowed this to happen, isn't it? You have the thing you wrote about slavery. It lasted that long because Africans allowed it to happen.
Yeah, no. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
can you hear me now?
Yes, Nia Kwete, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you so much, my brother Lambert. I am Ni Akwete. I was born in Ghana. I've lived in the U.S. nearly 50 years. I teach at George Washington. I used to teach at Georgetown, but my day work has actually been an activist, which I've been doing since 1981, so 40 years now. I shook hands with Mandela in DC. I've done all this stuff. And right now, it's such a pleasure, my brother. I was listening to you explicate all the challenges we Africans have, what we have to do, live in the UN. We have to have a backup plan before we did it. So I have enjoyed listening to you. Now I'm happy to share what we are doing tomorrow with our webinar. And you did ask a great question, which is we say Africa is being plundered, but who is doing the plundering? So here is my answer. Um, in a way of speaking, if we are looking at continents, right now, big among those who are currently plundering us, and they've been doing for like the 30 years, are the Chinese. They are everywhere. Go to Namibia, go to Ghana, go to Senegal, anywhere in Africa. In fact, it's easier to count an African country where the Chinese are not present, because they are practically present everywhere. Later this year, they're going to have FOCAC, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. So China, in the few minutes we have, if you say who, China is one of them, but they are recent. Our very colonization from the Berlin Conference of 1884 is part of our plundering, where the Europeans met in Germany, put down paper and drew and said, look, it's no use to go kill ourselves for those black people. Yes, we want to take their countries and their wealth, but let's just do it on paper rather than fight each other. I heard my brother say, yes, the Europeans have killed each other and lost First World War, Second World War. That's all true. But when it came to Africa, they said, look, they have wealth. We want to take it, but let's not kill ourselves. That's why Cameroon used to be a German colony. Okay. And that's why Nigeria was an English colony, Ghana was an English colony. On both sides of Ghana, and on three sides of Ghana, you have Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, all French-speaking countries. So the colonizing of us is another way they plundered us. That was before even the current one, including the Chinese. But also go back. We are all three of us are living in the United States now. There are 35 million black people in this country. How did they get here? 300 years of slavery, Atlantic slavery, going to Africa with big ships built in Europe, take liquor and guns to Africa, bring Africa's strongest people to this country. Okay, that was the original plundering, but it still continues. So our webinar tomorrow, we're going to show the facts. We're going to show what is happening. Our wealth is being taken. Now, it is not totally a gloomy story, because my way of looking at it is those African Americans that I just referred to, they were brought just the United States starting 400 years ago. Slavery was supposed to destroy them. Guess what happened? They destroyed slavery. They survived slavery. They did it in Brazil. They did it in Haiti. Okay? And they've been making America a better place ever since. So Africans, black people, we should not look down on ourselves. We have done some historic things and heroic things to survive great catastrophe. Slavery was one of them. Then, of course, all of us speaking, I'm sure we can remember our independence leaders, okay? After slavery, the Europeans took over Africa via the Berlin Conference, as I'm saying. But they did not just take over Africa. They took over 4 continents. They took over Australasia, which is now Australia and New Zealand. That's one continent, generally regarded. Then they took over South America. They took over North America. Then they came back and took over Africa. Of those 4 continents, guess the only one that threw out the Europeans are the Africans. If you go to Australia today, the Prime Minister of Australia looks British, because that's what he is. Bolsonaro in Brazil looks European. That's what he is. Joe Biden is of European descent, because they wiped out all the indigenous people of those 3 continents, but they did not succeed in Africa. So Africa is something about us.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I say something?
Sure. Please go ahead.
Your views are fine with me. Obviously, you have the passion on the subject matter, and you have laid it out the way you feel, and that's good. But you know what? After independence, how many African countries have sought to reunite? You look at Togo and Benin; they are like fingers. Okay, the distance between them is not even 100. It's not even 200 miles to cross them countries. So if we're blaming the Europeans for dividing us up, Africans today, as in Cameroon, Africans today are seeking to divide themselves up. The newest country in the world is what? Southern Sudan. So let us stop blaming the white man. Haiti is not a good example. Okay, none of the countries. Wait, can I finish? None of the countries run by black people are doing well. Okay, none of them. I just came back from Ghana. Ghana has the best exchange rate of the cedi to the dollar in any African country. But to borrow money in Ghana is 20-something%. Is anybody forcing them to do that? Ghana don't have Accra has no sewer system. Accra is trashy. Do we need a white man to do that for us? You go to black-run neighborhoods. Yes, black people are here in America. But how many cities run by Black people that are predominantly Black? So what I'm saying is that we have been exposed to the same education the white man has. We have been exposed to a whole lot of things. When are we going to quit making other people feel guilty for what happened 300 years ago? Let me tell you. Wait.
So I want to
If
answer
somebody,
your question.
If somebody slapped my grandfather, wait a minute. If somebody slapped my grandfather whenever they did that, or my father, and my father could not defend themselves, I will never cry for it. What I have learned is that you cannot slap me. If you do it, I'll crush you. The Africans we keep crying because Jesus was crucified. We keep crying because that they came and did this to us. But look at what we are doing to ourselves.
Okay, so my brother, let me then answer. You know, my previous, and you are very kind, so I thank you, and I thank Lambert for having me just sneak into your program a little bit. I started with the history, okay? Since Columbus, 500 years, the slavery. Yes, I was looking at the history. My point is, we've had a very difficult history, but we survived better than any of the other three continents. I will get to the present.
No, we have not survived.
Hold on a second. I am just saying that my point is we need to look at the fact that we survived. Now we have to say, and of course I say we, but you know, people die and their forebears come on. So what I'm actually saying, I'm agreeing with you that those who came before us, the fact that they survived so that you and I are alive here, they did a great job. So those of
there
us
was
who
no
are
way
here
the
now,
white people were going to wipe out.
Just a second. I'm agreeing with you that, like you said, Togo and Benin are not united, okay? Ghana and Nigeria should be better. Forget even the language. The whole continent should be united because we are 55 countries, 1.3 billion people. China is 1.3 billion people. They are one country. So I agree with you, but I'm saying that is the job we, the today's generation, have to do. But I'm saying we should use our history of surviving great catastrophe to inspire us. So I agree with you that
I agree with you. Let me say,
so today's generation, we need to draw inspiration and do that. Who's going to do that? I am so glad you are doing this program with my brother Lambert, because always it takes an exceptional few to step forward and rally the masses. So who's going to do it? It's me and you. We will link our hands and say, we can do this. I was born in Accra. I know the condition of Accra. My only point is, I'm not blaming white people. No, we should do it. We should clean Accra up. We should clean Dakar up. We should clean Lagos up, okay? And in this country, as I told you, 40 years in this country, my goal has been, let's bring the 5 million African immigrants here together, okay, to say we live now in the most richest country in the United States, great universities. I teach at 2 of them. Let's gather the knowledge. We are here. Africans are the most highly educated people in the United States. Let's take that knowledge. I got all of my education except 2 years in graduate school. I got everything in Ghana. So I say I owe Ghana, okay? So I need to take that and go and pay back. If the 5 million of us here will do that. So my brother, on the present, I agree with you. Our present situation is not acceptable. My only point is, those who came before us did an amazing job. They took the whole continent back.
Yeah, look, I agree. Let me tell you something.
Hold on, Sir Okpa. Before we get into this, I'd like to, because the reason we have this is to promote the event, tomorrow's event.
We're going to promote it. We promoted it. This is the way to promote it. You don't have to have debate. You know what I'm saying is, look, the Chinese thing, I am insulted when people blame China. Who invited China? Who invited China? There's a saying in my culture, when you invite ants into your home, you're going to bear the responsibility. The Africans invited China. Chinese are ants. So they are doing what ants do, because they never fought a war against any African country. They just came in and gave them something, and the African people, as usual, you know, they are pimps. You know what pimps stand for? PIMPS. Put in my pocket, politicians. So it doesn't take a whole lot to get the African black leader excited. If you take $1 million to Ghana, you could buy anybody you wanted to. So Let us quit. I like the fact you said we have gotten the education, if not better than anybody. Why are we the doormats of other races? Why are we the doormat? My mom told me if you make yourself a doormat, two things are inevitable in your life. Either you get stepped on.
So you and I then are telling our compatriots that we should not be the doormat. There's no reason for us to be the doormat. So my brother, I'm really excited to meet you because I think we are in the same business. We are saying to today's generations of Africans, your current condition is unacceptable and you have every power to change it.
Yes.
Wake up. Wake up. So you and I are actually shaking our people up and saying, wake up. The only thing I am getting away from is I don't want to say to Africans that all Africans are no good. Because if you are no good, why should you try? I'm saying, no, you are good, but you are forgetting yourself. I heard a story when I was little about a small eagle chick that used to think that it was a duck or a turkey and it wouldn't fly until it was taught to realize that it is an eagle and it can soar. So me and you, we have to tell today's highly educated Africans, starting with those in the United States, okay? The son of a black man, a Kenyan, became the president here with no money, okay? He had brains and character, and he did what he can.
But what did he do for Africa? What did he, if his father was alive, wait a minute, if his father was alive in his life, he will not be president because his father will be telling him, you are Kenyan, you are Kenyan. Let us not go there.
No. Well, it's true, but the point is, whatever the case, when people say, what did he do for Africa? I answer two ways. Simply because he looked black. My brother, look, I'm in my 70s. When I was little, I went to Kwame Nkrumah's house, okay? And I got infected with politics. You know why? Because the head of my country looked just like me. So Obama being black and having a black child run his hand through his head, that was huge symbolically. He did that symbolic thing. Now there's what he did practically. The United States, they control their president, whoever he is. Look at Biden and the trouble he's having. Look at the trouble Trump had. So materially, they want to control you. But the fact that he was black and became president, opened the universe to black people all over the country. Yes, you can do this. All right. So each of us have to.
I like the word you use. You see, we are people of symbols. When we have no substance, we have no substance.
No. Substance and symbols are not very different. Listen, in physics and chemistry, the backbone of science, you use symbols. In mathematics, you use symbols.
So, no. I'm talking about politically. You go look, there are more black people that are elected into local government, county government, state government in America than any other ethnic group. So that's symbolic. But what are they doing with that power in their neighborhood? Okay?
Because what I'm trying to say to you is, in this, I live in Virginia. We are voting in starting Saturday. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to have you guys go back and forth on this some other day.
All right.
No. We can exchange. No, Lambert. Hey, look, I'm going to be in DC soon. Or you want to do, this is not a debate. This is not.
No. I like.
No. You can share my information with him. He can share my information, and I can tell him what I'm doing. I am not somebody who looks backward to look at what. Like I said, my father was a chief. My father told the British people, my grandfather, when they wanted to build a customary court back in early 1990s. Okay, 1900, they came in. You know what my grandfather told them? He said, you cannot devalue my power. You go to the next town and build it so I can come over there and be your court interpreter. I don't want to have this confusion as to with my people, who is this and that. And that's what they did. Then my father became a chief. In 1955, the British missionary, the Catholic missionary, wanted to build a teachers training college in my village, in his village. And they said, we're going to build it for you so that they can name it St. Anthony, St. Vincent, St. Teresa, because Africans are not good enough for saint. Okay? And then my father said, no, you don't build for us, you build with us. Mark that language. Don't build for us, you build with us. guess what? It became the only teachers training college in all of Eastern Nigeria that was not named after any saint. It was named after my town, after Ihe. Because my father at the age of 27, he was born in 1928, stood up to the white people. So I'm just saying I am not new to controversy. If you come into my home and take my wife, I will not blame you. I blame myself for creating a condition.
Well, my brother, if I might jump in there, yes, that part of your point, this quick point about coming to my house and taking my wife, should blame myself. I will do that. But I, Ni Akwete, will do two things also. For a human, another person, to leave your house and break into someone's house and take their wife, yes, I blame them for not preventing you. But you cannot be a saint. You are a thief going around. You mentioned the Chinese who invited them. The Chinese, in fact, Lambert is anxious for us to get details. Tomorrow in our webinar, I am talking about, we have 4 areas. We have mining, taking our minerals. We have oil and gas being done by Dr. Nimobasi of Nigeria. The mining will be done by Mr. Alain Foucault of RFI, who is a wonderful Cameroonian like Lambert himself. And then we have my sister, Faith Alube in Nairobi, where they had the Mau Mau issues, talking about how white people come and take our land. And before you say we give it to them, no, they come with guns. We have arrows and spears, and they kill us. But I'm talking about fishing, because I am a fisherman's son. My father was a fisherman in Accra. Okay, the Chinese now, the U.S. just declared it a global maritime threat. They are all over the world with huge trawlers. They are stealing fish. So please, let's not deify or make saints.
Okay, you're talking about Kenya. You're talking about Kenya. Guess who owns 70%?
No. Let me just land. My point is, you did ask who is plundering Africa. I'm saying in my area tomorrow is fishing, and I am saying to you, everywhere, Argentina, Africa, all these countries with deep seas and fish, the fish are being decimated, not just by China, but China is number 1. And I'm saying, don't say that the Chinese are some saints. They leave their country. They go to Africa, they go to Argentina, they take everything.
I don't care where they go. You come to my home,
yes.
You come to my home.
So the point, my brother, and I promise you I'll land in just 1 minute. My point is, yes, I will blame Africans for allowing our stuff to be taken. But I'm also saying, blame also the thief who leaves China or leaves Germany or leaves Britain and comes to Africa. Because if you blame just the Africans, the thieves will keep coming. I am here, I tell the Chinese, I tell the Europeans, anybody blame raping Africa, I tell them, yes, we should be strong, but you two are a rapist. I don't absolve the Chinese. There are Ghanaians who absolve the Chinese. That pisses me off.
Okay.
Yes.
I live in a neighborhood. I take my neighborhood as a country. Okay, my home is my country. If you go mess up with my neighbor's house and you think because you're gonna come bring that shit, excuse my French, over here, I will crush you. So
I agree on that.
Can I finish? You're talking about Kenya. The Uhuru family, Jomo Kenyatta family, the son is now president. They own about 50% of land in Kenya. Why are you blaming the white man? Look,
because after the Mau Mau, when Kenyatta took over, I agree with you. But it was because they fought the British, and when the British left, the land that the British have stolen, part of it the Kenyatta family took. But the British were the ones who set the record. Now,
he does not pass the law.
Stealing,
Pass the law.
Stealing,
pass
South
the law.
Africa.
Pass the law.
South
law.
Africa.
No.
South
pass
Africa.
the law. Pass the law that says anybody who got land from the British people because of whatever is null and void.
Yes, law, they are working on it, but as
they are working on it after 60 years.
As you said, the president's family is implicated in anything you do in any country, especially where there is voting. If the president's family is in it, it takes a long, slow process, unless you want to go the revolutionary way where you kill people.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
But one more thing, my brother, I beg you. on land, the Kenya one, they have actually thrown out. They've thrown out the ones the British. They took it back from the British. But you know where the white settlers still have it, and people don't want to talk about it. Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia. Whites
Okay,
still have the
okay,
majority of the land there, and
okay,
so
okay,
we
okay.
Africans
But
need
then
to take it back.
okay. Mugabe became president in 1980. Okay,
Yes.
he became
Yes.
president, and people get excited that he's the most educated because he has all these whatever things. Yes, look at what he did to Zimbabwe. Look at wait, can I finish?
I haven't said anything. I haven't said
Okay,
anything.
look at how he took
no.
Look at how he took the Zim dollar in 1996. The Zim dollar was like the Ghana cedis today. Okay, very strong. But by the time Mugabe left, who was he fighting? People. Nigeria, wait a minute. Nkrumah.
Don't go to Nigeria yet. Yes, let's stay on Zimbabwe. Let's stay on Zimbabwe because it will become too complicated.
No, wait a minute.
Go ahead to make your case on Zimbabwe. And then
Lambert. No. Lambert, wait. Lambert,
both of you.
Wait. Nkrumah became the first.
Let's stay in Zimbabwe.
Okay, no, I'm done with Zimbabwe. I'm just going to even point.
If you are done, then let me respond because you've prosecuted Mugabe. Let me defend him in 2 minutes. Then we can go to Nkrumah, whom I met when I was a child.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Ni and say Okpa. Can I organize something next Wednesday for you?
Okay, that's fine.
I signed up. My brother is wonderful. I'm glad I met him.
And all these things you are talking about, you did not have anybody on your panel to talk about money. You should bring me in there and let me tell African people that are going to be listening, forget your mineral. You have to get your monetary union straight. So all this, oil, look, minerals, nothing, Africans did not do anything to have mineral in the ground. A farmer is more...
Okay, but I need my 2 minutes to defend Mugabe because he's been prosecuted. Okay,
go ahead. Then I'll have the last word.
Yes. Okay, Lambert. Yes, this is you own this. You could throw both of us out. So just give me the 2 minutes to put in a quick defense of Mugabe. Okay, because we are in America. He's been demonized. He took the land back, and the United States and Great Britain and Australia, the white settler countries, they slammed on him sanctions that are still there. And did you know that earlier this year, Zimbabweans have been suffering since Mugabe died, but Mnangagwa, who betrayed Mugabe, his father, his political father, he betrayed him and everybody applauded. But you know what he has done? With the country up to 98%, in debt. He has borrowed 3.5 billion. He can't borrow to buy medicine, but the global system allowed him to borrow 3.5 billion, a billion with a B, US dollars, to do what? To give the money to the whites who stole the land. They didn't buy it. Your cousin steals my car, and the uncle says, no, don't take the car back. I'll give you money to buy the car back. And he doesn't give the money. Mugabe took it back because Britain and US will give him money. They didn't. And when he took the land, 10 years, he waited 10 years. After he took the land, they slammed sanctions on him. Those sanctions will devastate any African country.
That's not true.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
No. Okay. Look, Lambert, thank you for this opportunity. But we have divergence of opinions, and that's true. That's what debates are, and the exchange of information. At the end of the day, my position is that a lot of the things that happen in Africa are African induced, African inflicted. Until we unshackle our mind with all this, somebody else is doing it to us, we will never get out of this situation. Every country, I don't care. I'm not a Ghanaian. Okay, I don't have anything in common with Ghanaian or Zimbabwean. If we can focus on a particular country and make it successful, all this, having 54 wives and one husband is not going to work. Let everybody.
So thank you, my brother. You just summarized your position. I'll summarize mine. I agree with you. We have huge problems today. our only difference, and I'm glad to know you. I want to be your friend. You know, I have a joke. I heard it from somewhere. If two minds always agree on every little thing, then only one of them is working. So the fact that you and I agree, we are two passionate Africans, and this is good. From our intellectual wrestling, we will find good issues and good strategies. Perhaps on some issues, yours will work, perhaps on mine will work, and there are others where we will meet somewhere. So this is good. But my position is, yes, it's not that we are blaming others. I'm not a doctor, but I have doctors in my family. I have doctors' friends. The first step to curing a disease is to diagnose it correctly. So we have to ask, what is Africa's problem today? And I'm saying to you, since Columbus for 500 years, we Europeans have abused the whole world, including us, but we have survived. So when I say the fact that one piece of Africa is called Cameroon, another is called Nigeria, another is called Ghana, those borders were not drawn. I mean, in your neck of Nigeria, it wasn't the Igbo people who drew the
Collapse
borders.
it. We still had a Biafran war. Collapse it.
Yes, it is true. But I'm saying that the shapes of our countries were drawn by Europeans in Berlin. Why?
Fine. I'm glad they did it because
I
we couldn't
finish?
do it.
So I'm saying I'm not blaming whites for the hell of it. I am saying the facts. You were talking about facts. I stick to facts. The facts are that they colonized us, they divided us. It's called balkanization. They
That's good.
balkanized
That
Africa.
is good.
Yes, and so once we understand that, and once we understand that we cannot, they are the ones who put us in trouble, so we cannot go running to them for solutions. We must solve our problems ourselves. And
Good.
I think on that, you and I agree.
Okay,
So,
good. So here's what it is. Lambert, share my information with him. However you want to do it, we can have this conversation going on. But
No.
I'm not going to be a party to this whining and complaining and blaming. I came to America.
Mine is not whining and blaming. I am paying attention to the facts.
No. So what I'm saying is this. If we're going to look forward, I don't care that Jesus was crucified. He didn't die for my sin. He died for his own sin.
I'm not discussing religion. I don't discuss religion.
Okay, fine. But I'm just
discussing politics and history.
No. The thing is, what I'm saying is what the Africans get hooked up on. They still claiming, crying.
No, but you just said you don't care about Ghana and this and that. So when you say
again,
African,
I didn't want this to be a debate.
Okay.
I wanted us to
it's
talk
not a
about
debate. It's an exchange of idea. We're not debating. Yes. But what I'm saying is that I don't go back as far as all these 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Look, yesterday is too far gone for me. I'm just saying I know the situation I am in as a human being. I look around. I go to African countries. It's trashy. You need no power, no light. Schools are not funded. And then you come here and I said, what are we missing? What are we missing? Is it financing? Is it policy? And then we keep going around and say, China is coming in.
But you see, my brother, my alternative take, in fact, a young Chadian brother just said to me recently, even if you say my view is wrong, at least let me state it so we can see the right view and the wrong view. We can put it side by side. So when you say our countries, our cities are trashy, it's true. What I'm saying to you is, I will tell you how it came to be trashy. That's why I go back. Okay.
Tell me how.
So again, I think we will not go anywhere. It's going to be either or, but I think we can agree that it's never either or. It has to be both and, isn't it? I think that's where we should end.
Yes. Which is why I'm saying I am so happy to meet my brother. It's a pleasure to meet you. By the way, for the last about 20 years ago, I was living in Abuja and Lagos because I was running an NGO promoting democracy in all the 17 ECOWAS countries. Okay, I got George Soros to set it up. It's now in Dakar, called Usiwa. I was the executive director. So I was all over Nigeria. I have a lot of Nigerian friends, and they even tease me. They say, we're going to tell the Ghanaians that you love Nigeria more than you love Ghana. And I say, well, you can try. Because for me, the borders are pretty meaningless. We are Africans. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I want to thank you, Ni, for coming on. And this was again in order to promote the event for tomorrow. It is called Continuing Plunder, the Brutal Extraction of Africa's Resources. It's at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. If you want to, you can go to this site, Faith and Justice Network.org. You will have the information there and you can register. So, Sir Okpa, I'm inviting you for the event tomorrow, and I'm sure at the end of it, they should give you some time to be able to say something. But we are all inviting ourselves, inviting our friends, inviting academicians all over to come and listen to this beautiful webinar. It's going to be very instructive, 2 hours, 30 minutes. I think it's from 9 a.m. to 11:30. There are people connecting from Africa and some from the United States. I want to say thank you.
And from France.
Yeah, from France. Thank you all for showing up. You have any last word?
Let me say, my last word is, France has no gold mining stuff, but France has more gold stored in their warehouse than all of African nations. So
the
go
only
figure
thing
that
I
out.
say to that is my brother said, Okpa, thank you. 3 words. Thank you. Amen. That point on France. Amen. And we will talk about that tomorrow.
Thank you very much. It's been great. This thing was supposed to last for an hour. We have been on for an hour, 35 minutes. Thank you. And I'm sure we're going to set up something for Ni and Sir Okpa to enlighten us. Until next week, thanks for coming. I'll see you again next Wednesday. Join the Africa Advocacy Network for Africa tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a webinar. If you want the information, it's right here on my page. Join it and let's have the conversation. Thank you all and have a good
Thank you, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Sir Okpa. Thank you, Lambert. See you
Okay,
everyone tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp.